Hi, everybody. This is Nannette Kennedy from the Humanities Team and the Evolution Revolution. And we are the CWG group. We read everything Neale Donald Walsch writes. I mean, we are in that process. And we are reading The Only Thing That Matters. And I believe we're just ready to go into a little lengthy afterword. And then next week, we'll be starting What God Said. So, Lynda, our infamous reader, take it away.
Okay, hang on just a quick second. I am sending Mary the call-in information because apparently her internet's offline. So she'll be here in a minute via phone, I guess.
It's weird for her not to be here.
Yeah. Okay, so this is The Only Thing That Matters, Conversation with Humanity, Book 2. We're on page 209 with the afterword. The afterword and then the addendum. And I'll pause between them to see if we want to do any discussion. The Conversations with Humanity series of books places a particular and specific point on a view about life before the people of our world, and then invites input, ideas, and commentary of all kinds about that point of view, so that humanity itself will rewrite its cultural history. It is clear that the story we are now living, individually and collectively on this planet, is not working for the largest number of us, or anything close to it. If we wish to alter our everyday experience during this time we spend on Earth, we will find it of enormous benefit to begin paying attention to the only thing that matters. This point has been made repeatedly in the Conversations with God series of books, upon which all the material in this present volume is based, including the message that you have brought this material to yourself using the metaphysical trick of making it seem as if it was written by someone else. If you would like to continue your interaction with this larger part of self that forms the community called Humanity on Earth, you may do so on a daily basis at the internet portal site found at the www.cwgportal.com, and that is a working link, by the way, and Mary's in the waiting room. There will be an opportunity to enter into a lively global conversation taking place daily around the topics explored here. Join with people from across the globe in seeking to create oneness as a worldwide experience through the work of Humanity's team. Share the life-changing messages you have found here through the CWG for Parents homeschooling program, and learn more about how to apply the principles of Conversations with God in your daily experience through programs of the Conversations with God Foundation and CWG Village. Hang on a second. I need to clear my throat.
Hello, sorry to be late. What are you reading?
We're on the, what's it called? The afterword?
Afterword of this, the only thing that matters. Yes, sorry to be late. Thank you.
Lynda, can you take yourself off mute?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. Get back to where we were. A number of years ago, a book was given to us called Home with God, in a Life That Never Ends. In it, God engaged in a dialogue around what occurs at the end of our present physical life and thereafter. As part of that exploration, a question was asked about what our world would look like if all of us looked more closely at what we know deep inside to be true about ourselves and about life. Much of what was offered there relates directly to what has been offered on these pages. As an afterword to the present text, we offer this excerpt in which divine wisdom is brought to us in the words of the divine. The excerpt addresses an issue that readers such as you have brought up frequently. I've heard all this before, people say. Tell me something new. Here, from Home with God is a response to that in the form of a dialogue between a human being and God. God speaks first. Now, you can say you've heard all this before, but you are not acting like it. That is why you keep telling yourself this over and over. What would it look like if I were acting like it? If I really understood this and didn't need to have this conversation circle back again and again over what I think I already know, what would it look like? What would that look like? First, you would never entertain negative thoughts in your mind again. Second, if a negative thought did happen to slip in, you would get it out of your mind immediately. You would think of something else deliberately. You would simply change your mind about that. Third, you would begin not only understand who you really are, but to honor and demonstrate that. That is, you would move from what you know to what you experience as the measure of your own evolution. Fourth, you would love yourself fully just as you are. Fifth, you would love everyone else fully just as they are. Sixth, you would love life fully just as it is. Seventh, you would forgive everyone everything. And now we would add, by not having to forgive anyone at all. 8, you would never deliberately hurt another human being again, emotionally or physically. Least of all would you ever do this in the name of God. 9, you would never mourn the death of another again, not even for a moment. You might mourn your loss, but not their death. 10th, you would never fear or mourn your own death, not even for a moment. 11th, you would be aware that everything is vibration, everything. And so you would pay much more attention to the vibration of everything that you eat, of everything that you wear, of everything that you watch, read, listen to, and most important, of everything you think, say, and do. 12th, you would do whatever it takes to adjust the vibration of your energy and the energy, life energy that you are creating around you if you find that it is not in resonance with the highest knowing you have about who you are and the greatest experience of this that you can possibly imagine. Excuse me, but how does all this happen? For example, how can I become cognizant of the vibration of a piece of clothing or a meal listed on a menu, to say nothing of something I am thinking, saying, or doing? It's really quite simple. Tune in to how you feel. Now, I can just see someone saying, boy, that piece of new age jargon, get in touch with your feelings. Those who see it as jargon will experience it as jargon. Those who see it as wisdom will open the door to a whole new world. Any suggestions on how to do that? It is just a matter of focus. Most human beings are focused most of the time on things that do not really matter. Yet if they were to take a few moments each day to focus on what does, they could change their whole lives. Inserted note 2012. This was given to us in the above dialogue many years ago. Your body is a magnificent instrument of highly sensitive energy receptors. Believe it or not, you could run your hand 6 inches over the food in a buffet line without touching it. Feel whether it is a benefit to you to eat it, to eat that right now. You can do the same thing with clothing that you are picking out of a closet to wear for the day, or that you're thinking of buying in a store. When you're with another person, if you stop listening to what hang on. when you are with another person, oh, wait a second, where were we? Right. You can do the same thing with clothing you're picking out of a closet to wear for the day, or that you are thinking of buying in a store. When you're with another person, if you'll stop listening to what you are thinking and begin listening to what you are feeling, the quality of your communication with that person will skyrocket, as will the quality of the relationship itself. When you are confused and perplexed and looking for answers from the universe, if you will just turn off the part of you that desperately wants to figure things out and turn on the part of you that knows it has access to every answer, if you will stop trying to decide what to do and start choosing what you wish to be, you will find dilemmas dissolving and solutions appearing magically right in front of your face. As for measuring the vibes of thoughts or words, there are very few people actually who cannot tell you whether they are feeling light or heavy about thinking or saying something. Most people can assess this pretty quickly. Yes, but, and here is where the screw turns, very few people ever do. At least that's my observation. Gosh knows I certainly don't nearly, and I clearly certainly don't nearly enough. Then you may wish to start. Because you are right, very few people use their intuitive and psychic abilities to go deep within themselves and get in touch with their feelings before they think or say or do something. Very few people even do it afterward. If you did this, you would allow yourself to be satisfied with nothing less than lightness. You would have nothing to do with anything that has heavy vibes. You would seek to lighten the vibration of everything that you observe, create, experience, and express. You would call this enlightenment, and you would see amazing results in a very short period of time. End of excerpt. It is the hope that you will hear loud and clear the messages that you have brought yourself in the reading you have done here. May you experience God's blessings flowing to you and through you all the days of your life. Neale Donald Walsch, Ashland, Oregon, September 2012.
Thank you. And I see we've got Mary on the line. And who else is going? Oh, Ann Derby with TCC test. Excuse me. Who would like to start? Ann, do you want to start? You came in late. I don't think you'll be able to.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I came in late, so I've got nothing to
okay. Well, I'm
say, but hello, everybody.
hello.
Hello. Also from me, I was late. Hello.
Lynda, were you going to say something?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say something. I think that Neale has the most beautiful way of a closing when he closes his books. And it really warms my heart. And when he read those, or when you read those, what did he call those things? It was an answer to if I really understand this and didn't need to have conventions or conversations circle back again and again over what I think I already know. What would that look like? And then he lists those 10 things. And it reminds me of Home with God, and that's my personal favorite over. Mirko, you got your hand up?
Yes, hello everybody. My talk about this afterward is that we are talking about a very important issue, even for our group here, that is the role of the ego in our life. And I talked about this with Neil in the past week in his program, because also Neil changed his program for this, for insert this important issue in it, for the question that I asked to him. So, the question was, what is the role of is it positive or negative to have an ego in our life? And so it is very important, this afterward, because when it talks about people who ask us, for example, what is new about these things? What are you talking about? What is the practicality of these things, of this book, The Only Thing That Matters? Well, for me, the practicality is that we are living our life at the contrary, at the opposite, because we are doing exactly the opposite of what we know that we are, if we think about it. This book is suggesting that the 12 points in response to Neil are very clear when they say that when we understand who we really are, we don't hurt anybody else. We pay attention to positive thinking, positive feeling, the opposite of what we are seeing in the world in everyday life. And why we do this? For me, the answer, and I think I have quite finished, the answer is that we are not paying attention to the only thing that matters. So I think that in the rest of the book, the final part, when the book talks about meditation, probably also in these groups, for example, and I have started a group of my group with other is a business group, but we talk about some of these things, because today's many people is realizing, for the events that we are living, that probably is important, our spiritual part. Probably is important some time, I don't want to say many times, but sometime during the day to meditate, sometime. And probably is important to listen to our feelings, because many people don't even realize that they have feelings. They are all in the mind. My final consideration is about, sorry, I take the part when, about the fact that I experienced the last week talking with a member of this group, of my group, that is a marketing manager. And after saying the importance of this only thing that matters, he said, I am not interested. I reported this to Neil, and Neil said to me, Mirko, you are right. Many people especially in Italy, are not interested because they are only focused on being a success, handle the problems. But the question that I want to ask you is the question that Neil asked to me in the past week. What if we start from the spiritual perspective to ask ourselves not how I can be a success, but who am I? And what I am, why I'm here? What if we realize, as Neil had, that when we pay attention to these fundamental questions, these two fundamental questions in our life, everything else, all the money that we need to pay our bills, to buy a car, to have a success. What if we ask these two questions, everything else fall into place automatically? Wouldn't it be interesting?
Yes,
This is the question that I have finished.
thank you. Anybody else? Romy?
Yeah, hi. Okay, I think I like the question, how can I be of service? I think this is for me, it's a very straight on question. Then I have a question to Mirko. When you talk about feelings, do you really mean feelings or emotions? Or do you think also of intuition? What exactly do you mean when you talk of feelings?
I think that this is a very, very important question. Now I am answering to you, but because many people that I know or read in the internet that are coach or psychologists are talking about emotions. But Neil, in the last lessons of his program and his last book is very clear about this. I agree with him when he talked about feeling, emotion from the mind. If you know his book, When Everything Changed Everything, he talked about it. And feelings from the soul. So Neil, and I agree with this, suggests to merge the two, that is make the two, like Jesus said, the two becomes one. So emotions come from our mind, from our thoughts about the reality, and feelings comes about from the soul. So Neil suggests to solve this question, to answer this question, suggests to change our reality, to merge our emotions with the feelings, the feeling that we understand God has about everything. And Neil said that the feeling that God has about everything is pure love. So when we have an emotion and we merge this with pure love, Neil suggests to make this by feeling gratitude for everything, even for the bad things in our life. I think this is a game-changing idea. I practice this in my life. So I am talking not only about emotion or feeling or intuition, but for me, the answer to you, Romy, is a decision. We have to make a decision every day, every morning, every evening, every moment. Who am I? And if the answer is, as all the books of Neil are suggesting, if we read very well the books, if I am love, I think that the answer to every situation in our life, even a virus, for example, or a decision about the vaccine, or a decision about everything, comes automatically. I'd like to see this in our leaders, as I said in the past meetings, because there is a level of hypocrisy, in my opinion, today. between the decision that they are taking decisions for us, for our well-being, but not for the people who are dying about starvation, is in many, many years, not in 2 years, is a little bit, not a little bit, a great hypocrisy, because we don't really understand that we have to merge our emotion
Right.
with the pure love. I finish.
Thank you. Romy, did you want to respond to what Mirko
No,
said?
there is nothing to respond. No,
Okay.
it's fine. Thanks.
Mary?
I would like to say something. Yes, thank you. It's funny because what I was going to say is the question I ask is what would love do, which is kind of what Mirko circled around to. You know, that's how I try to live my life. What would love do in this circumstance? And that brings me back to the thing where he said we avoid heavy vibrations. And I just want to be a little bit, you know, how I argue sometimes with him. And maybe he would write it differently now because there's more awareness about trauma. And suppose I have a friend who's dealing with a trauma that happened, her vibration might be seen as heavy. And I'm not going to avoid that because I need to be there holding space so that she can sort through that and come out of it on the other side. So just in terms of avoiding heavy vibrations, I think that needs to be a little bit nuanced. That's all. Thank you. I'm done.
I think that was an excellent point. And I would like to add to that. Somebody that's very close to me, not a romantic person. It's not a romantic thing. It's my brother, one of my brothers, who's a awful alcoholic. And it's heavy, and I can't, in that circumstance, I can't sit there and listen to the same old thing because it brings me down. And so that's the only thing I would add to what you were saying, Mary, because I've actually been in circumstances where somebody's been raped or, you know, got robbed or whatever, had something happen to them, and they needed a friend who will listen. So I agree with what your point was. Over. Ariana, did you want to say something?
I also would like to add something about these heavy vibers, and that very few people behave in accordance with the vibers they feel. For example, to talk about my husband, when I met him, I felt so heavy, I don't know, darkness, heavy vibes. Really, I maybe is the only person with whom I felt so heavy, these vibes. And but he seemed kind, caring, and so I married him in the end. But I felt these heavy vibes, and I think maybe if I listen my intuition, maybe we would not be together. But I also saw darkness, great darkness, and I thought, okay, I will light this darkness. But very many things happened after this. I think that I don't know, it's important to listen the vibes that we feel about people or anything. Yes, over.
Thank you, Ariana. And just take a second here. I want to welcome Tammy and Carla. Thank you for being here. And Lisa, we'll just welcome you again, just for kicks. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. should we read the rest? Or what's the?
Yeah, we need to, because it's got a walking meditation in it. I think it's important stuff, and I'm looking at the clock. I don't know if we'll get all the way through it.
Okay, let's try to do that so we can start, for those of you that joined us.
Start the new book next week.
Yeah, we start the new book next week, which is What God Said by Neil Donald Walsch. Okay, well, go ahead, and Lynda,
Okay.
do your thing.
This is the addendum. Note, the material in this section of the addendum is adapted from its first publication in the book When Everything Changes, Change Everything, Hay House 2010. It offers a look at 4 different types of meditation. Although there is no one form of meditation that is better than another, so-called sitting meditation is what many people are most familiar with and want to know more about. So people who seek to make a connection between their mind and their soul may wish to undertake the practice of sitting meditation twice a day, 15 minutes each morning and 15 minutes each evening. Try, if possible, to set a regular time when you will do this. Then see if you can stick to that time. Yet if you cannot keep such a consistent schedule, know that any time will do, as long that it is at least twice a day, early and late. When you meditate, you may want to sometimes sit outside if it's nice and warm, allowing the morning sun to bake down on you or the stars to sprinkle or sparkle above you. Inside, you may sit by a window or let the dawn sun pour in and the night sky enclose you. There is, as has been said, no right way to do sitting meditation. One may sit in a comfortable chair or on the floor, upright in bed, or for that matter, choose what works for you. Some people sit on the floor, usually with no backrest, but occasionally against a wall or a couch, because floor sitting keeps them more present in the space. They report that if they are too completely comfortable, as an overstuffed chair or on the bed, they tend to doze off or fade away from the moment. When they're sitting on the floor or outside on the grass, this rarely occurs. They are totally mentally present. Once sitting, begin by paying attention to your breathing, closing your eyes and simply listening to yourself inhaling and exhaling. Be in blackness and pay attention only to what you are hearing. When you have united, that's the only word that seems to fit here, with the rhythm of your breath, begin to expand your attention to what your inner eye is seeing. Usually at that point, this is nothing but darkness. If you're seeing images, that is, thinking thoughts of something and seeing that in your mind, work to fade those thoughts out, like a fade to black on a movie screen. Turn your mind to blankness. Focusing your inner eye, peer deeply into this darkness. Be looking for nothing in particular, but simply peering deeply, allowing yourself to search for nothing and need nothing. For many people, what happens next can often be the appearance of what appears to be a small flickering blue flame or a burst of blue light piercing the darkness. Meditators find that if they begin thinking about this cognitively, that is, defining it, describing it to themselves, trying to give it shape and form, and making it do something or mean something, it disappears immediately. The only way that they can make it come back is to pay it no mind. Many people have to work hard to turn their mind off and just be with the moment and the experience without judging it, defining it, or trying to make something happen or figure it out or understand it from their logic center. It is rather like making love. Then too, for the experience to be mystical and magical, most people turn their mind off and just be with the moment and the experience without judging it, defining it, or trying to make something happen or figure it out or understand it from their inner logic center. Meditation is making love to the universe. It is uniting with God. It is uniting with self. It is not to be understood, created, or defined. One does not understand God. One simply experiences God. One does not create God. God simply is. One does not define God. God defines one. God is the definer and the defined. God is the definition itself. Insert the word self wherever the word God appears in the above paragraph, and the meaning remains the same. Now back to the dancing blue flame. Once you take your mind off of it, all the while keeping your focus on it, without expectation or thought of any kind, the flickering may reappear. The trick is to keep your mind, that is, your thought process, off it, all the while keeping your focus, that is, your undivided attention, on it. Can you imagine this dichotomy? This means paying attention to what you are not paying attention to. It is very much like daydreaming. It is like when you are sitting in broad daylight in the middle of some place of great activity, and you are paying attention to nothing at all and to everything all at once. You are expecting nothing and requiring nothing and noticing nothing in particular. But you are so focused on the nothing and the everything that someone finally has to snap you out of it, perhaps by literally snapping their fingers, saying, "Hey, are you daydreaming?" Usually one daydreams with one's eyes open. Sitting meditation is daydreaming with your eyes closed. That's as close as I can come to explaining the experience. Now the dancing blue flame has reappeared. Simply experience it and do not try to define it, measure it, or explain it to yourself in any way. Just fall into it. The flame will appear to come toward you. It will become larger in your inner field of vision. This is not the flame moving toward you at all, but you moving into and inside of the experience of it. If you are lucky, you will experience total immersion in this light before your mind starts telling you about it and talking to you about it, comparing it to past data. If you have even one instant of this mindless immersion, you will have experienced bliss. This is the bliss of total knowing, total experience of self as one, with everything, with the one thing there is. You cannot try for this bliss. If you see the blue flame and begin to anticipate this bliss, the flame will disappear instantly and in most reported experiences. Anticipation and/or expectation ends the experience. That is because the experience is happening in every moment. And anticipation or expectation places it into the future where you are not. Hence, the flame seems to go away. It is not the light that has gone away, it is you. You have left every moment. This has the same effect on your inner eye that closing your outer eyes has on your experience of the physical world around you. You quite literally shut it out. Most meditators report that this encounter with bliss comes but once every 1,000 moments of meditation. Having known it once is both a blessing and, in a sense, a curse, because people are forever wishing for it again. Still, there can be times when they can retreat from the wishing, remove themselves from the hope, desert their desires, reject their expectations, and place themselves totally in the moment, utterly without anticipation of anything in particular. This is the mental state you may wish to seek to achieve. It is not easy, but it is possible. And if you achieve it, you have achieved mindlessness. Mindlessness is not the emptying of the mind, but the focusing of the mind away from the mind. It is about being out of your mind. That is, away from your thoughts for a while. More on this later. This gets you very close to that place at the point between realms in the kingdom of God, the space of pure being. This gets you very close to nirvana. This can carry you to bliss. So if you have managed to find a way to quiet your mind on a regular basis through sitting meditation, what is called walking meditation or doing meditation, doing the dishes can be a wonderful meditation, as can reading or writing or a book, or stopping meditation. Again, I'll get into this more later. You have undertaken what may be the single most important commitment of your life, a commitment to your soul, to be with your soul, to meet your soul, to hear and listen to and interact with your soul. In this way, you will move through your life, not only from the place of your mind, but your soul as well. This is what Ken Wilber, one of the most widely read and influential American philosophers of our time, refers to in his book, A Theory of Everything, as integral in transformative practice. The basic idea of an ITP, Wilber says, is simple. The more aspects of our being that we simultaneously exercise, the more likely that transformation will occur. That's what we've been talking about here since our conversation began, of course. We've been talking about personal transformation, the altering of your individual experience of all life. We've been talking about integrating all three parts of the totality of you in a cooperating, multifunctioning whole. Walking meditation. The meditation described earlier is one way, and a very good way, to go about silencing the mind and connecting with the soul. But it is not the only way, nor is it necessarily for everyone the best way. There are many people who find it extremely difficult to sit in silent meditation. For them, it may seem as if the art of meditation is something that is lost to them. People who are impatient by nature often found that sitting in a silent meditation is not a thing they tolerated well. For them, I suggest walking meditation, and everything changes for them around the idea of meditation. Suddenly, it was something they could do. The first thing that happens when people learned about walking meditation is that their whole idea about what meditation is completely vanishes, to be replaced by a more clear and concise picture of what's going on. For most people, meditation has always meant clearing the mind of everything, leaving the space for emptiness to appear, so that they could move in consciousness into the nothingness that is all, or something like that. What they were supposed to be trying to do, they thought, was empty the mind. They were supposed to try and sit in one place and close their eyes and think of nothing. This made some people crazy because their mind never turns off. It's always thinking, thinking, thinking of something. So some people never get very good at sitting with their legs crossed, closing their eyes and concentrating on the nothing. Frustrated, they hardly ever meditate and envy those who say they do, although they secretly wondered whether those folks really did or simply went through the motions, doing no better than they were able to do. A story now, please, about a master teacher who once said that most people have entirely the wrong idea of what meditation was about. Meditation, she said, was not about emptiness, it was about focus. Instead of trying to sit still and think about nothing, she suggested a walking meditation and moving about, stopping to focus on specific things that the eyes light upon. Consider a blade of grass, she said. Consider it, look at it closely, regard it intently. Consider every aspect of it. What does it look like? What are its specific characteristics? What does it feel like? What is its fragrance? What is its size compared to you? Look at it closely. What does it tell you about life? Then she said, experience the grass in its completeness. Take off your shoes and socks and walk on the grass in your bare feet. Think of nothing else but your feet. Focus your attention on the bottom of your feet and consider immensely exactly what you are feeling there. Tell your mind to feel nothing else just for that moment. Ignore all the incoming data except the data coming from the bottom of your feet. Close your eyes if that helps. Walk slowly and deliberately, allowing each slow and gentle step to tell you about the grass. Then open your eyes and look at all the grass around you. Ignore the other incoming data, except the data about the grass coming from your eyes and feet. Now focus your sense of smell and see if you can smell the grass. Ignore all the incoming data except the data about the grass coming from your nose, your eyes, and your feet. See if you can focus your attention in this way. If you can, you will experience the grass as you may never have experienced it before. You will know more about grass than you ever knew before at a deeper level. You will never experience it the same way. You will experience that you have been ignoring the grass your whole life. Then the master teacher said, do the same thing with a flower. Consider it, look at it closely, regard it intently, that is, with intention. Consider every aspect of it. What does it look like? What are its specific characteristics? What does it feel like? What is its fragrance? What is its size compared to you? Look at it closely. Experience. What does it tell you about life? Then she said, experience the flower in its completeness. Bring it to your nose and smell it once more. Think of nothing else but your nose. Focus your attention on your nose and consider immensely exactly what you are experiencing here. Tell your mind to experience nothing else, just for that moment. Ignore all other incoming data except the data coming from your nose. Close your eyes if that helps. Now focus on your sense of touch and touch the flower carefully. Touch the flower at the same time you smell the flower. Ignore all the other incoming data except the data about the flower coming from your fingertips and your nose. Now open your eyes and look closely at the flower. See if you can still smell the flower now that it's far enough away for you to look at it and touch it. See if you can focus your attention in this way. If you can, you will experience the flower as you may never have experienced it before. You will know more about the flower than you ever knew before at a deeper level. You will never experience it the same way. You will realize that you have been ignoring the flowers your whole life. Then she said, do the same thing with a tree. Walk over to a tree and consider it. Look at it closely, regard it intensely, consider every aspect of it. What does it look like? What are its specific characteristics? What does it feel like? What is its fragrance? What is its size compared to you? Look at it closely. What does it tell you about life? And she said, experience the tree in its completeness. Place your hands upon it and feel it totally. Think of nothing else but your hands. Focus your attention on your hands and consider immensely exactly what you are experiencing there. Tell your mind to experience nothing else, just for that moment. Ignore all other incoming data, except the data coming from your hands. Close your eyes if this helps. Now focus on your sense of smell and smell the tree. Continue touching the tree at the same time as you smell the tree. Ignore all other incoming data except the data about the tree coming from your fingertips and your nose. Now open your eyes and look closely at the tree. Look up at it and see if you can climb in consciousness to its top. See if you can still smell the tree now that it is far away enough for you to look at it. Keep touching it. See if you can focus your attention in this way. If you can, you will experience the tree as you may never have experienced it before. You will know more about the tree than you ever knew before at a deeper level. You will never experience it in the same way again. You will realize that you have been ignoring the trees your whole life. Now step away from the tree and lose all physical contact with it. See if you can bring to your mind the experience of the tree as you stand and look at it from further away. Experience it completely. Do not be surprised if you can smell the tree even from a distance. Do not be surprised if you can, in a sense, even feel the tree from where you are. What has happened is that you have opened yourself to the vibration of the tree. You are catching the vibe. How far back you can step from the tree. See how far back you can step from this tree and still retain contact. When you lose touch with the experience of the tree, move in closer, move back to see to it. See if it helps you regain contact. This exercise will help you develop your ability to focus your attention on whatever you want to experience at the highest level, at the height end level. Now walk wherever you live, in the country, in the city, it does not matter. Walk slowly but deliberately and look around you. Let your eyes fall where they may. As your eyes find something, focus the fullness of your attention upon it. It can be anything: a garbage truck, a stop sign, a crack in the wall, a pebble by the road. Look at it closely from right where you are. Regard it intently. Consider every aspect of it. What does it look like? What are its specific characteristics? What does it feel like from where you are? What is its fragrance? Can you sense that from where you are? What is its size compared to you? Look at it closely. What does it tell you about life? Continue your walk. Pick out 3 things on your walk to consider in this way. The walk around should take you at least a half an hour. You cannot consider 3 things fully in less time at first. Later, you will be able to consider something fully in just a moment, in a nanosecond. But now you are just practicing. This is walking meditation, and what you are doing is training your mind to stop ignoring everything that you are experiencing. You are training your mind to focus on a particular aspect of your experience so that you may experience it completely. Practice walking meditation in this way for 3 weeks, the master teacher said, and you will never experience life the same way again. Then take one final step in walking meditation. Walk outside, or inside for that matter. You can actually walk anywhere. From the bedroom to the kitchen will do. There's plenty to see, plenty to touch, plenty to experience. You can spend 3 hours in the with the carpet alone. And this time, she said, do not pick out any particular part of what you are seeing or encountering. Try to encounter all of it. Seek to embrace all of it. Attempt to focus on all of it at the same time. Take in the big picture. Close your eyes at first if this helps. Smell what you are smelling. Hear what you are hearing. Feel what you are feeling of the space around you. Then open your eyes and add sight. See everything that you are seeing and nothing in particular. See all of it. Smell all of it. Feel all of it. If this begins to overwhelm you, refocus on a part of it so that you do not lose your psychic balance. With enough practice,
Hey,
you
Lynda,
will, yeah,
we should
Oh.
stop.
okay.
It's 1 minute till 1. Thank you very
Can
much.
can I just finish this? Hang on, let me just read a little more there, because
Okay.
there's a natural place to stop on the next page.
Okay.
This begins to overwhelm you. Refocus on a part of it so that you do not lose your psychic balance. With enough practice, you will soon be able to walk into any space or place and begin to experience all of it at some level. You will realize then that you have been literally walking home. You have heightened your awareness. You have raised your consciousness. You have expanded your ability to be present fully in the moment. Now do this with your eyes closed and while you are sitting down and you have silent meditation. Boom. It is as simple as that. With that, the master teacher smiled. Then try this with sex, she said. Once you experience sex in this way, you will never want to experience it any other way again. You will realize that all your life you have been ignoring what is really going on. And she laughed.
Thank you. That was pretty darn interesting to me. I've not read this passage before. But since we're out of time, I'm going to ask Mary if she will close us out, and then we can.
Nannette, Nannette, can we do a follow-up on, because I actually had like an experience to share about, can I do that question next week in the beginning?
Yes.
Because we didn't get a chance to talk about the prologue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mary, it's all yours.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and thank you all for being here today in this circle where we're sort of synthesizing everything we've learned from this most recent book that we've read and learning how to bring that into our life in tangible ways and learning how to just make our decisions and choices from who we want to be, like what our soul's purpose is, and being the greatest, grandest version, like Neil always says, and I never remember the quote. And thank you all for being here in this circle where we help to support ourselves in becoming more and more of that version. I think that's it for today. Thank you all. Love in.
All right. Thank you. Namaste. Love you all. And
Yeah.
look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
Hi, bye.
Yep. Have a great
Bye.
week, everybody.